Hey there! Welcome to the fourth and final video of the Rhetoric and Musicals series. Once again, my name is Rochelle, and this is the conclusion video. So throughout this series, I was analyzing how media can be scrutinized with different rhetorical lenses and how that can bring out the values of the author and the audience, and then place those values into the larger world. So just to recap, I used symbolism to establish that media is symbolic and that it can be used to scrutinize the world because it is separated from individuals or an entity and itself becomes its own thing, and honesty can be brought out by that. Then from that honesty, we can use feminism and nationalism in order to see where women and national values lie and how they're shared throughout different media lenses. This is pretty interesting because there was a lot of overlap that I did not expect to happen. There was a large gap between the way a woman wrote women and the way a man wrote women, which was really shocking. I thought there would be a slight gap, but you know all those memes about like men writing women and it's all about how pretty they are or how they look, and it's kind of like one of the weirdest things I can think of is like she boobied down the stairs. Like I didn't think that was gonna be kind of shown, but just the way men perceive women as support systems rather than having their own individual personalities was actually quite apparent in the writings, even though the women in Hamilton seem very strong, but their strength seems kind of small when compared to a woman written by another woman. And then another lens used was nationalism, and that was just to highlight the way that national views are kind of embedded into every work. It's not just musicals, it's TV and movies, it's podcasts and music, and even books. If you read a dystopian novel written by an American author, it's gonna differ even slightly from a dystopian novel written by, say, a Slavic author or an Asian author. And this is all really interesting because it helps us kind of dissect society as a whole, and it kind of lets us see small pieces put into the larger aspect, which was really fun to go about. Of course, there are still some lingering questions, as there is with any research, some of which includes like what exactly would it look like if the roles were reversed and Six was written primarily by men and Hamilton was written primarily by women? Would there be a difference? What would change if Hamilton, an American story, was written by a British writer? And vice versa, what would happen if Six, the story of English monarchs, what if that was written by an American, or even anybody just outside of those cultures? What would happen if they took an outside view from both of them and kind of separated it? What is that viewpoint? Because it is seen a lot in history that when you show a historical viewpoint from the victors or from whoever wants to be painted in a better light, it often differs greatly from the rest of the way that it's perceived. And of course, there's the whole thing of there's three sides to a story. One version, version two, and then in the middle, there's the truth. But another thing to think about is that this doesn't need to just be limited to feminism and nationalism. Symbolism seems to be required because it establishes media as something that can be scrutinized. However, you could take this, and if you wanted to see how a certain audience viewed the sense of self or an individual kind of aspect to it, you could take transcendentalism and the belief of like the id and psyche from Freud and Marx and use those to kind of analyze different things. So it kind of just goes to show that as long as you understand that things are symbolic, you can take things apart and regroup it to the outside pieces. But that is all for my video series. It's really fun to make this, and I really hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Thank you. Bye.